Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down exactly how top-tier professionals working at the absolute pinnacle of motorsport can fall victim to basic, fundamental miscommunications during a highly intense Formula One pit stop. It's a pretty stark reminder that even in a sport completely obsessed with milliseconds and cutting-edge data, the human element is still the most critical and sometimes the most fragile part of the whole operation.
My heart really sank for a second. Let's dive right in with those chilling words from seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. He said this right after a split-second nightmare in the pit lane at the 2026 Belgian Grand Prix. You know, this was supposed to be just a routine stop, a totally coordinated dance of precision in what is arguably the most dangerous lane in all of motorsport. But instead, a legendary driver, a world-class Ferrari crew, and one mechanic found themselves caught in a truly terrifying sequence of events.
Section 1. The setup at Spa. To really understand what went wrong here, we have to rewind our timeline to lap 20 and look at the intense pressure the Ferrari crew was already dealing with.
Okay, so the crucial thing to grasp here is that this was absolutely not a normal pit stop. A virtual safety car had frozen the field, prompting Hamilton to dive into the pits. But he was carrying a 5-second time penalty from an opening lap collision with George Russell, a clash that actually ended Russell's race. So Hamilton had to just sit there and wait 5 agonizing seconds before a single mechanic was legally allowed to touch the car. And to make matters exponentially more chaotic, Ferrari was trying to execute a double-stack stop with his teammate Charles Leclerc. The tension in that pit box was just off the charts.
Now, while the car is sitting completely stationary waiting out that penalty, a brand new variable gets thrown into the mix. Over the radio, Hamilton requests a front wing adjustment to help balance his car on the hard compound tires. On paper, it's a completely standard request, but injected into the heat of a chaotic double-stack stop, it adds a massive, unexpected layer of complexity to a communication channel that was already totally overflowing.
And here is where things go south. Crucially, this instruction for the front wing adjustment completely bypassed the supercontroller. If you aren't familiar with that term, the supercontroller is the individual on the crew who is strictly responsible for activating the final release light in the pit box. Because that message basically hit a wall in the chaos, a fatal blind spot was created in the operation.
Section 2. A breakdown in communication. Let's see how this blind spot escalates into an absolute disaster in a matter of mere milliseconds.
This perfectly illustrates the fracture within the garage. As the penalty expires and the tire change finishes up, 2 completely conflicting commands are shouted over the team radio at the exact same time. One crew member yells, "Go," while simultaneously someone else shouts 0.6 degrees, which was the specific instruction for that late wing adjustment. Talk about crossed wires.
By mapping this out on a timeline, you can see the exact domino effect unfolding. The penalty time expires, the conflicting shouts go out over the radio, the jacks are dropped, and the supercontroller, totally unaware of the late wing request, hits the green light. Seeing the signal he's literally been trained his entire career to obey, Hamilton immediately drops the clutch and moves forward.
But at that exact split second, a mechanic armed with the front wing tool steps directly into the path of the moving SF-26 car. His head is down, he's focused entirely on the tool in his hands. Having never seen the green light flash above him, he steps right into the danger zone. The mechanic is violently struck by the front right tire of the car and knocked straight to the ground.
Hamilton felt the impact and slammed on the brakes instantly. As the crew rushed in to pull the mechanic clear, Hamilton's mind flashed back to a pretty horrifying image. As he later admitted, "All I could think about at the time is when Kimi Räikkönen did a leg." He was remembering the 2018 Bahrain Grand Prix, a remarkably similar accident where a mechanic's leg was broken. It really is a testament to the split-second trauma these drivers experience when the highly controlled environment of the pit box just suddenly shatters.
Section 3. The FIA investigation. Now, miraculously, the mechanic walked away uninjured. But as the adrenaline of the pit lane faded, the situation transitioned to the cold, analytical room of the FIA stewards.
So the stewards convened post-race to dissect this incredibly complex combination of circumstances. And to their credit, Ferrari didn't hide from the error. They fully acknowledged it was an unsafe release. The stewards' findings were pretty damning, placing the blame squarely on a massive operational failure by the team. They pointed out the inappropriately laid instruction for the wing adjustment, a severe lack of clear communication, and the fact that the mechanic just failed to notice the green light above him.
The price tag for this operational breakdown and near disaster? Ferrari was slapped with a hefty €30,000 fine. 10,000 of that fine was suspended for 12 months, kind of hanging over the team's head as a strict probationary warning.
But the FIA demanded more than just cash. They gave Ferrari exactly 14 days to submit a comprehensive, full report detailing a total overhaul of their safety protocols. The governing body wanted absolute assurance that the procedural gaps leading to this incident would be closed forever.
While the team dealt with fines and mandates, what about Hamilton himself? Would he face a sporting penalty? The stewards gave a definitive no, ruling he was in no respect at fault, because he reacted perfectly to the green light just like he was trained to, and, crucially, stopped the car immediately upon impact. He completely avoided any penalties. In fact, the stewards even noted he actually suffered a sporting disadvantage in the race because he lost time making sure the mechanic was safe.
Section 4. The Championship Aftermath. As the dust settles at Spa, we really have to look at how this operational chaos impacts the wider championship battle as Formula One heads into its traditional summer break.
Because he was cleared by the stewards, Hamilton held on to his hard-fought fourth-place finish, and his points remained intact. But up at the very front of the pack, young championship leader Kimi Räikkönen was busy celebrating his 6th win of the season.
So what does that mean for the standings? It means Hamilton slips 45 points behind Antonelli. It's a brilliant, if really painful reminder that in Formula One, raw speed on the track is absolutely nothing without seamless safety and communication in the pit lane. Ferrari's definitely heading into a crucial operational reset right now.
I'll leave you with this final thought to debate in the comments. When one late instruction and a missed signal nearly cost a man his entire career, we have to ask where the ultimate accountability lies. Was a €30,000 fine really enough for a procedural failure that literally put a life at risk, or should there have been a harsher sporting penalty to force systemic change? Let us know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you next time as we continue to break down the mechanics behind the sport.